Welcome back to more State of the USMNT, guys. Before we get into the video, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the content. I know we haven't started the video, but just share the content. Share the previous videos, guys. Let's get it out to more US fans, and let's allow more US fans to find us, and that's how they find us, by continuously liking the content and sharing it and doing everything positive to impact the channel in a positive way. Now, with that being said, we're going to get into the video today, okay? We're going to kind of be previewing the U.S. taking on to Panama, the U.S. traveling to Panama, and taking on the Candeleros in Romel Fernandez Stadium. I'm going to start off talking about the inactives. There's going to be 3 inactives and 1 potential questionable player due to the fact that we don't know the nature of his injury, the severity of his injury at this point, but I think he might be a go. Now, we're going to start off talking about Weston McKennie, Anthony Robinson, and Zach Steffen. Weston McKennie did suffer an injury, a quad injury against Jamaica. He's been ruled out by Berhalter. Anthony Robinson and Zach Steffen, on the other hand, though, they're not going to be participating in the Panama game due to the fact that Panama, like we mentioned in the past previous videos, and obviously you guys know, Panama is a red-listed country, and there's some quarantine restrictions there that kind of don't match up with the Premier side teams, and they just don't want their players to be out, I guess. So we're going to be without those players, those 3 players. And the fourth player that could potentially be out is Serginho Dest. Did suffer a hamstring injury, I believe. Not sure exactly what the severity is, but I think he will start. So those are the notable inactives and a potential inactive for this match against Panama. Let's talk a little bit about Panama, what type of team they are, and what they've been looking like so far in these previous World Cup qualifiers. So far, they've been looking solid. They're at 4th place. Thomas Christensen has his team playing good, believing, churning out results. In the previous World Cup qualifier window in September, they churned out results against Mexico. They got a tie there. They hosted Mexico. The game ended in a 1-1, but in the first 25-35 minutes, Panama kind of reminded me of us against Jamaica. We were just on top of Jamaica. In this case, Panama was just on top of Mexico, flooring it, pedal to the metal, literally, I mean, guns blazing for the first 25-35 minutes. Panama got a goal, fell back towards the end, and then received a goal. Mexico tied it. The game ended in a tie. Then they took on Costa Rica, also got a tie on the road. So that's something positive. Granted, I understand Costa Rica isn't the greatest team, and they are kind of in a transition cycle similar to Panama, but for some reason, Panama is just looking great. Like I mentioned, Thomas Christensen is finding ways to gather this team, make them gel, and just churn out results regardless if they're at home or they're away. But things did kind of take a turn for Panama. Couple of days ago, they went into El Salvador to take on El Salvador at the Cuscatlan and took an L. They lost 1-0. So Panama ended off strong the previous World Cup qualifiers. Now they're starting off with an L. Now that's something that I think our team, our coaches can look at and say, well, we just took care of business against Jamaica. We handled them in a convincing fashion. Panama just lost on the road against a team we tied on the road, which is El Salvador. Maybe we can go into Panama and get those 3 points, you know? Potentially, worst case scenario, we get a point, but it's looking like we could potentially get 3 points. That's something that players can build on. They could kind of think that way, you know, and build that momentum already. Like I said, we're heading into Panama with the full head of steam of momentum. This just adds a little bit more, but it's looking good for us, guys. It's looking good for us. Now, how should we take on Panama? Should we allow them to come up, attack us a little bit? We sit back defensively, we absorb, we let them get tired. Maybe they give a bad pass and we just hit them with the counterattack, capitalize that way? Or should we come out like we did against Jamaica, pedal to the metal, full gas, getting vertical, behind the defense, and just give it to them? In my opinion, if you were to ask me, we come out guns blazing, man. It worked against Jamaica. We came out strong. We put out a strong act. The first 25-35 minutes, pedal to the metal, kind of fell back a little bit, but immediately in the second half, the intensity kicked up again. Got vertical, like we mentioned, got behind the line. Tim Whale was going crazy. Brandon Aronson was going crazy. Yunus Musa was just driving. We need to come out like that. It worked for us against Jamaica. It has to work for us against Panama, depending on how Panama plays, depending on how schematically good they are, right? But overall, we started off great. We need to keep this intensity, if anything, kick it up a little bit more. And we just got to find a way to keep Panama on their heels often and early. That's the way I see it. Whether we like it or not, Panama is going to try to come out and they're going to try to bounce back. They're at home. They got the crowd. We're on the road. They took an L. They want to find a way. They're going to try to find a way to bounce back, and they're going to try to do it against us. So what we need to do is we need to press them high. We cannot allow them to pour the pressure on us, because if they do, then we're in trouble. We're just sitting ducks. We need to hit them in the midfield. We need to overrun them. Press them high. Eventually, they'll give the ball away. And then we need to use that speed on the flanks, in the middle. Use Musa to drive. Use Aronson on the flanks. Tim Weah on the flank. And feed Pepe. Most importantly, feed Pepe. Pepe, all he needs is 1 or 2 chances, and it's a goal. If we can feed him 2, 3, 4 chances, pretty sure he's going to put 2 of those in the net, or at least 1. But that's what we need to do. We need to come out. We just got to give it to them. We started off fast, and we need to finish off fast. And we need to finish strong against Panama. If we clinch this dub, the first 2 games, guys, that's 6 out of 6 points. We're taking on Costa Rica at home. It's looking easy from there. And I'm definitely assuming that Berhalter is going to preach, is going to talk about verticality. I'm pretty sure he's still talking about it in the dinner table. But I agree with him. We got to get north, we got to get east, or we got to get west. But not south, unless you need to. Find a way to attack the spine of the defense. And in my opinion, we have a player that does that great. He's so dynamic. He's so good with the ball. I mean, I said it before in my previous videos. He kind of reminds me of a blend between Paul Pogba and N'Golo Kante. And I'm talking about Yunus Musa. He's so dynamic, so diverse. Body control is amazing. We have that player that can attack the spine of the defense. And we gotta give them a full dose of Yunus Musa, in my opinion. I don't mean to rave about Yunus Musa, and in my opinion, I should be raving. And I shouldn't be apologizing, but I'm gonna apologize because I probably sound like a goddamn broken record. But anyways, with that being said, another thing that I did hear from Greg Berhalter, and he did mention this, was that he wanted his midfielders to kind of press and attack retreating defenders, whether it's retreating midfielders or retreating defenders in general. He wants a midfielder or his midfielders to do that when they're getting vertical. And that's something that we saw from Yunus Musa do really good against Jamaica, time after time again. And obviously on that goal where he set up Serginho Dest, where Dest assisted Pepe, right? So if that's something that Triple G wants, this system was tailor-made for Yunus Musa, man. We obviously know how hard it is to complete passes in the final third, and how compact and how small and tight those spaces and windows are, right? Obviously, and how fast everything just crams and closes down. We obviously know that. But in this stat, I saw, guys, and I'm going to read it so I don't obviously butcher it here, but Musa was 18 for 19 in passes in the final third, guys. That's the final third. Like I mentioned, we know how small and tight the windows are. The area, the margin for a mistake there is very tight. But to be 18 out of 19, to complete 18 out of 19 passes, that's great. That's something special. And in my opinion, it goes to show how good he is in very tight spaces. That's just a little fun fact, a little stat I wanted to show you guys. But overall, he's only 18 and he's doing this. Can you imagine when he's 24, 25? Jeez, sky's the limit for this kid. So since we talked about the Panama game, what to expect, what to look for, and how to come out and play them, let's talk about our formation. Let's try to predict. Well, I'm going to try to predict who our starting 11 is going to be. Now, there's obviously going to be some changes here. There's going to be players that are dealing with injuries. There's going to be players obviously dealing with quarantine restrictions, and there's going to be players that just need some rest. But I'm going to start off with the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's remaining the same for me. Matt Turner he's playing good. I mean, the guy's not conceding any goals. Kept a clean sheet against Jamaica. Wasn't called a lot, but the times he was called, he stepped up to the plate. And aside from that, I mean, he came in, took the job from Stefan, hasn't looked back, and the rest is history. So he's a lock for me. Let's talk a little bit about the fullback positions, left back and right back. Now, the left back position and the right back position are going to change a little bit. That's due to the fact that, well, at the left back position, Anthony Robinson is not going to be traveling with a team to Panama due to the fact that he's under COVID restrictions, right? So we know that. We know that deal already. At the right back position, Serginho Dest potentially might not play, and that's due to the fact that he did pick up an injury, like we mentioned, a hamstring injury against Jamaica. And we know what type of injuries those are for players. Obviously, you want to let the player rest, right, and get healthy. But I haven't been reading or seeing anything about him potentially being out or being questionable or not participating versus Panama. So I think he is going to be a full go. I think he is going to suit up. So with that being said, Serginho is not starting for the USMNT at the right back position, in my opinion. I think he is going to start at the left back position since, like I mentioned, Anthony's not going to be there. We could start a George Bello, but I think Serginho Dest, if healthy, is a better lock there. Has been playing for Barcelona at the left back position and has obviously played for Berhalter at the left back position himself, obviously here at this level. So I think Dest is going to be the left back for us against Panama. That leaving the right back position open to a DeAndre Yedlin. Shaq Moore did come in this previous game against Jamaica. He looked okay, but I think the start is going to go to a DeAndre Yedlin, who's been serviceable for us in the past, and as of recent, got called up for the previous World Cup qualifier in September. He looked okay, and like I said, does bring in that experience. So my right back, DeAndre Yedlin, left back, Serginho Dest. The center back position is not going to change much for me. Miles Robinson continues to perform game in and game out, call in and call out. I mean, the guy's a stud. MLSer, but the guy's a stud. Definitely proves that he belongs and has showed that he belongs. So I'm not going to go with anybody else aside from Miles Robinson. Now, the center back 2 position, though, it is going to change a little bit. Walker Zimmerman was serviceable. He was solid. He was called upon and he held it down. He did his thing. Had a bad giveaway on one play, but overall, he was pretty clean. He was solid. Did what he had to do. But I am going to change it for Mark McKenzie. I like Mark McKenzie a little bit more. He's a little bit more physical, a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressive, and I don't know, he just looks more confident, more assertive, right? So I'm going to give the nod to Mark McKenzie. We could go with Walker Zimmerman. I wouldn't mind it, but McKenzie's a call for me. Now, the midfield is going to change in the center mid position. Center defensive mid is going to stay the same. Tyler Adams, I mean, I got nothing else to say, but the guy's a stud. He's a lock for us, and he's going to continue to be a lock now and in the future. Now, the position that will change a little bit is going to be McKinney's spot. Obviously, he's dealing with quad injury, is inactive against Panama, like we mentioned. So, Berhalter could either look at players like Kellen Acosta, could look at players like Sebastian Lletget, or could look at players like Luca De La Torre. I think it's going to be between Luca De La Torre and Kellen Acosta. Depending on how Berhalter wants to come out. Does he want to come out more aggressive, more offensive, get more vertical, like you said? You could rely on a player like Luca De La Torre, who's more creative, more advanced in that attacking role. Or do you want to stick to a more defensive, conservative style of play? Do you want to recover more balls in the midfield? You could go with the Kellen Acosta. He does that. He does all the dirty work and a little bit more on the offense. Not a lot of offense, not a ton of offense, but you get something. But the defensive work rate, exceptional. It just depends on what you want to do, what you want to come out with, how you want to play Panama. And I think we're creatures of habit. Berhalter's not an exception. He's going with Kellen Acosta, I think. So I'm going to give the nod to Kellen Acosta in McKinney's spot. And that leaves me with the more attacking mid-role. Musa was fantastic against Jamaica. I mean, you guys saw it. It was obvious. The guy was taking on defenders, was so dynamic, so composed, in tight spaces, found ways to just send some nice, lovely balls to his teammates in open positions. Just found a way to open up the game for us offensively and found ways to drive at defenders. So overall, I mean, Yunus Musa, if he could continue to do that for us, what he did against Jamaica, does it to Panama, yeah, he's going to overrun that Panama midfield, and he's definitely going to give that back line some troubles for Panama. So, I mean, Yunus is the lock for me, guys. Let's talk about the wingers. I'm starting Tim Weah and Brendan Aronson. Tim Weah on the right and Brendan Aronson on the left. I truly wanted Tim Weah to start against Jamaica. Unfortunately, that did not come to fruition did to the fact that Paul Arriola had to start, took up that spot. And granted, Paul Arriola was okay. He was serviceable. They called him up, and he did his thing. He did what he typically does, like I mentioned. Runs a lot, but no stat line. There's nothing there at the end of the day, right? Basically, the guy's a liability on the offense. But I did truly want to see Tim Weah start, and for a good reason. You guys saw what the kid offered right off the bat when he came in. He was a spark plug for the offense. I mean, we started off fast, but when Tim Weah came in, the offense got even more vertical, if that even makes any sense. The guy comes in and there's 3-4 chances right off the bat immediately to score, to potentially put 2 more balls in the net. Now, what I want to see is Tim Weah getting beyond that Panama back line with that speed and just feed Pepe all game long. Can you imagine that? I mean, if Tim Weah came in as a sub with 20 minutes in the game and had 3-4 chances of goals or chances of danger, can you imagine what he could do throughout the whole game? That's what I want to see. And this is a perfect opportunity to see Tim Weah as a starter. Christian Pulisic's injured, Gio Reyna's injured, so they're not commanding those starting winger positions, right? Right now is the time to test players. We know what we have in Arriola. Give Tim Weah the start. Let's see what we have in him as a starter. Let's see if he could offer something more, something else to the offense that probably Brendan Aronson doesn't offer. Christian Pulisic doesn't offer. Gio Reyna doesn't offer. I mean, obviously, we know Tim Weah offers speed, but maybe he can use that speed and, like I said, feed tons of balls to Pepe. And Pepe, all he needs is 1-2 balls in the penalty box, and he's cleaning them up. That's what I want to see. I kind of just don't want to leave any stones unturned. And I know next World Cup qualifier window, Pulisic potentially is going to be back healthy. Gio Reyna is going to be back healthy. And we might not see Tim Weah in that starting role. So that's why I'm saying we got to get him in the starting role against Panama or against Costa Rica. But we need to see him. Aside from that, I'm starting Tim Weah. Aronson on the other wing, you know what type of speedster, technical freak that kid is. I mean, the amount of work that kid puts in, the work rate that puts in is second to none, basically, in my opinion. He's so good. He's so special. And I don't think he gets a lot of rave. I don't think a lot of people talk about him. I don't think he gets a lot of credit for all the work he does, offensively and the dirty work. The kid is special, and like I mentioned, he's going to be pushing either Pulisic or Reyna for minutes at that winger position. He's been too damn valuable for us to not take that into consideration. He's good, so I'm starting him. And at the striker position, would I start anybody else aside from Ricardo Daniel Pepe? No. The guy's a hot hand, has 3 goals, 2 assists in the past 2 matches, and I'm pretty sure he's probably going to score a goal against Panama or Costa Rica. I'm pretty sure the kid's not done. He might have a goal or 2 more goals in him before this World Cup qualifier window ends. The kid is that good. He's that special. And like I said, he is a hot hand, so we got to ride him. Got to find ways to feed him the ball, whether that's via Tim Weah or whoever starts at that position, or Yunus Musa or Aronson. But we got to find a way to at least get him 1 or 2 balls, 3 balls in the penalty area, and all he needs is that. Quick movement, solid strike, and he puts it in the net. That's all he needs. He's that lethal. So Ricardo Daniel Pepe is going to be our workhorse, our talisman heading into Panama. Starting 11 is goalkeeper Matt Turner, left back Serginho Dest, right back DeAndre Yedlin, center back 1 is Miles Robinson, center back 2 is Mark McKenzie, center defensive mid is Tyler Adams, center mid is going to be Callan Acosta, attacking mid is going to be Yunus Musa, left wing is going to be Brandon Aronson, right wing is Tim Weah, and striker is Ricardo Pepe. That is going to be my prediction for the starting 11 versus Panama, and that is going to be my video, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us and watching us today. Now, I do want to say one last thing. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, guys. Road to 1,000. We are on road to Qatar, but we are on road to 1,000, guys. We are this close to 1,000 subs. Make it happen. Also, follow us on our socials because we are very active. With all that being said, guys, we truly appreciate you guys. And don't forget about the giveaway. Do all that and you're automatically in to potentially win the giveaways. With all that being said, I'll see you guys next time.